The story I'll be reading today is Followed and Chased in Daylight by Pantyanthem. Sorry, that's a silly name. This happened a few years ago while I was living in Masaga, Ontario. I'm a female at the time. I was 21. It was a very sunny afternoon day in early spring. I walked to Shoppers Drug Mart to buy something. I can't remember what it was. And as I was leaving the plaza, I saw a white, middle-aged man walking toward the plaza. As we passed, he smiled at me and said, "Hi." And being early spring, I was in a very good mood, so I smiled and said, "Hi," back. I seldom acknowledge strangers that address me, but he looked very dad-like, if that makes sense, so he seemed less threatening. I continued walking out of the plaza and turned into Floridale Drive, a residential street. I only ever took this route if I was going to the park that's located at the other end of the street, which is where I planned to go. I lived in that area for years. It's not a main road and uncommon for people to take this route. The road is narrow because of all the cars parked on the sides of the road, and there is only one sidewalk. The majority of people I've seen are the families who live on that street. As I mentioned, it was a very sunny day. I had been walking for less than a minute when I turned around and saw that same man was behind me. He was about 15 feet behind me. I didn't think anything of it and I continued walking. When I glanced down, I noticed a shadow casted from behind me by my foot. So I turned around and the man was now 5 foot away from me. I picked up my pace and tried to rationalize. Maybe he decided against the store and is going home. To reassure myself that this was the case, I crossed onto the other side of the street with no sidewalk. I knew he would have no reason to follow me onto this side of the street. After I crossed, I waited a few seconds before I turned around, and there he was, behind me again. Again, I tried to rationalize. Maybe he lives on this side of the street. Again, to reassure myself, I crossed back to the other side of the road with the sidewalk. If he did live on that side of the street, there would be no reason he would have to cross over again, but to my surprise, he crossed over again, still behind me. I was really panicked and decided I was going to go home instead of to the park. I didn't want him to follow me there and to be able to approach me. When I got to the end of the residential street, I took a sharp left turn and started running home. I didn't think he would continue to follow me because I had just turned onto a busier street with more cars and it was during daylight. I turned around as I was running and I saw this fucker running after me. I looked ahead and noticed there was a red light, no crossing ahead. I didn't want to stop at the intersection and let him catch up to me, so I took a risk and ran through traffic. When I got to the side, I turned around and saw him standing there. He just stood there for a few seconds before he smiled and turned back around to where he had just come from and walked away. I backed away slowly, continuing to look to make sure he wasn't going to turn back around and chase me. Luckily, he didn't, and I immediately ran home. I'm still not sure what he was planning to do if he caught me, but I'm happy I never found out. If you enjoyed this, possibly leave a like and maybe comment down below what I could change up and give me some ideas. But I just wanted to do something different, and I enjoy reading these kind of stories and kind of putting my own spin on them. And yeah, these are all fun. Anyway, thanks for watching, but until next time, that's me out. Bye, guys.